Thomas, what I'd like for you to do is try to come up with a situation so that you can share it with us. So what I'm asking is, it doesn't have to be a specific address, but come up with a theoretical asking price. And you can assume that you're selling it with an agent or for sale by owner. One of those, I mean, those are really the two potential
I
options. While you're
I
doing that,
got you.
I'll let you guys know, Pace Morby has a playlist on his YouTube channel with like 30 videos of real seller calls. Um, I couldn't encourage you to watch these videos more. There's it it will both teach you how to do seller finance, how to do sub two, and how to talk to sellers. Um, as you go through them, I would really encourage you to take notes, but that is honestly probably the biggest resource I can share with you for anything touching the subject. So, um, yeah, I highly encourage you to do that. Now, his approach is going to feel a little bit awkward because on a lot of the objections that people have, especially around sub two, his solution is to put me on the phone with your bank, put me on the phone with the person at the VA office, put me on the phone with XYZ. Um, you can do that if you learn how, but it's a little bit outside the scope of what I can help you learn, how to have those conversations, because he will encourage that person that he talks to look at specific paperwork um, that are relevant to the specific types of loans and whatever. So um, just bear that in mind. For your first deal, you might not want to take it that far where you're having a conversation with a professional in the space. But yeah, I highly encourage you to do that. I'm going to throw the link here in the chat for anyone that wants to go to this playlist. Okay. So, Thomas, it looks like you put in the chat the situation.
That work?
Suburban neighborhood in Phoenix, single family home, 3 beds, 2 baths. Current market value is 350,000. Current mortgage balance is 280 at 4%. Monthly mortgage payment is 1,500, including taxes and insurance. Current rental value is 2,200 a month. You, the seller, have been relocated for work and are struggling to sell the property at the price you want. You're tired of maintaining the property from afar and have considered listing with realtor, but the potential commissions and the hassle have held you back. Okay, I think this is a good situation. It's realistic. The thing that would be, I guess we'd have to assume that this is listed for sale by owner, because if they're skeptical of working with a realtor, then how else am I going to know about the house without doing some like outbound marketing? So, okay. All right. So I'm just going to go through the exercise. I'm not like a slick salesperson. I'm almost certainly going to not say the correct things that someone with more experience would, but let's go for it. So, Thomas, how are you?
Okay, I'm gonna be a little rude, okay, but not polite, but rude. Okay, I'm doing all right. Hey, what's going on?
Hey, man. I saw that you had your house on Zillow. I'm interested in buying it. Would you be willing to tell me a little bit about the house?
Yeah, man. Basically, I move along a lot for work. I got this property thinking I was gonna stay here for a long period of time, but work got me moving. So this time I'm kind of frustrated and want to be able to sell the property. But yeah, I just want to get ahead on this.
Okay. What do you do for work?
I sell diapers.
Okay.
There's
How long have you
there's
been doing
shit
that?
all over the states, so I always travel a lot.
Yeah. How'd you get into the
Uh,
diaper business?
um, you know, uh, it's a funny story. Not one that I'm open to share right now because I got things to do and but it involved poops. I'm just gonna say that.
No worries. Okay. So, if I understood you correctly, you're selling the house because maybe you got a new job or whatever your work needs you to move. Is that right?
That's right.
Okay. Um, so I saw that you had it listed for sale by owner. Why not list it with an agent?
I agents, I just don't trust them, and then it's hard to get, know what's really going on. And at this point, Our agents really need it. Like how much I like to do things on my own.
Okay. Uh, what I like to do is I like to buy houses on what's called seller financing. That's basically a process where you become the bank and I make you monthly payments. Um, if you are willing to hear about that, I think I can make you a lot more than what your asking price is. Is that something you might be
Is this
interested in?
something to do with like crypto? Are you one of those crypto bros?
I am not. I actually I think I mean I have my personal opinions on crypto. I think real estate's a lot better of an investment.
Okay, man, I'll listen to you, but I got things to do. So
Okay, no
what's
worries.
going on?
So if you were to sell your house right now, what's kind of your asking price?
Well, I want 350 for it.
350. Okay. Does the house need any kind of work?
Um, it's pretty good. It has an older type of uh furnace, but it works fine. No
Okay.
issues.
Okay. Uh, so is the primary reason you're wanting to sell it to pay for what are you going to do with the money? You're going to buy a new house in the place that you're moving?
At this point, my main reason is I'm trying to save up for retirement, and then I'm trying to deal with other people's shit, literally, and then want to be able to save some money and put it in the stock market.
Okay. You want to put it in the stock market. Um, about how much do you think you'd want to put into the stock market? Like all of the proceeds or what's your plan with it?
Well, I'll put maybe I put uh 150 in high yield savings, and then I'll divide the rest between a ETX and mutual funds. And just
Okay.
do something conservative.
Okay. Um, so it sounds like you want to invest most of that money. Um, if I could make a deal with you where you make a better interest rate, a better return on investment in a way that's safer, would that be something that you're interested in?
I'd be interested, but I'm skeptical. I'm just let you know.
Okay. What kind of interest rate? Well, I guess you can think of it as return on investment, but what kind of interest rate are you expecting if you were to put things in your high yield savings account? What's the interest rate on that?
High yield, I'm looking at a 4%
4%. Okay.
minimum.
Okay. Um, and then on the ETF, do you have an estimate for how much that might earn you?
Around the same.
Okay. So around
ETF,
4%.
yeah.
Okay. So what I'm gonna be offering you is a deal where the worst thing that could happen to you is that you get the house back, including all of the money that I've paid you so far. And I'm willing to do that at a 5.5% interest rate. So you'll make more compared to the ETF. And I'm not sure what the dividend schedules are for how you're getting paid on those stocks, but um, I'll be making you a monthly payment with that interest rate. And you can use that to offset your monthly payment on your new house or even pay for it entirely. Is that something you might be interested in?
Yeah, I'd be interested.
Okay. So what I would like for you to do is figure out how much you would like to make per month from this house. And we'll come up with an interest rate that meets your number, and we can have another conversation.
So wait a minute. I don't get it. So are you buying this house for me or not? I don't understand what you're trying to tell me.
Yeah, that's right. I'd be buying the house from you. I'm putting you in the position that a bank is normally in. So normally when somebody buys a house, they go to the bank. The bank has a bunch of loan options at different, monthly payments and down payments. And what they do is they pick one that's appropriate for their credit and their situation. And then they give that down payment to the bank. the seller of that house gets all the money up front, and that's how the traditional process
But I
is.
still have a mortgage in this house. So how am I supposed to pay that for that mortgage?
Okay. So given that you have a mortgage, the story's going to have to change a little bit. We're going to have to do something called a sub two deal. Now, the way a sub two deal works is that I'll buy the house from you. We'll close on it. That mortgage will remain in your name, but I'm going to service it for you. And then on the equity that you have, whatever you don't owe the bank for that mortgage, between that number and the market value, that's your equity. I will seller finance your remaining equity from you. So how much is your mortgage?
280,
Okay. And what's the interest rate on that mortgage?
4%.
Okay. How long have you had it?
I had it for about 5 years.
Okay. So that's probably going to work for me. Let me try to figure out what your equity would be. So you're asking 350,000 minus 280,000. You have about $80,000 in equity. So what I would do is I would give you a down payment based on that 80,000. It would be in line with what the market expects, anywhere between 5 and 10%. And then you would start getting monthly payments from me. You wouldn't have to deal with the house anymore. It's sold to me. I'm the owner of that house, and you get a monthly payment from me. You can use that however you'd like, but this is no longer a house that you have to think about. You've effectively sold it, and you'll also be earning an interest rate on that $80,000. So after all is said and done, you're going to make a lot more than that $80,000. Now, here's the thing: if you were to sell this house traditionally, right? If you were to get an agent, and I know you're skeptical of agents, but let me just tell you what would happen. You would probably end up, after everything has been closed out, walking away from that closing table, not with 80,000, but more like 40,000. That's how much cash you would probably ultimately make, right? And that's based on an estimated 6% on commissions. There's going to be closing costs, probably anywhere between 9 and 11%. That's how much gets subtracted from a traditional sale. Now, because you're listed for sale by owner, you don't need to worry about the agent's commissions. But you're still going to have closing costs. So the most that you stand to gain if you sell it traditionally is, we'll say, maybe about 3% off that 80,000. Let me calculate what that would be. You'd probably make about 77. Whereas with my deal, you're going to make far more than that. I'd have to run the numbers to know for sure, but you'd probably make more like $100,000.
Okay, let me try to understand what you're telling me. You're gonna give me around $80,000 for my property, right? You're gonna take over my current mortgage that I have, and you're gonna pay me a monthly sum.
So you'll be earning that $80,000 over time. I'm not going to give you $80,000 up front. You'll get a down payment on that 80,000. So we could do anywhere between 5 and 20%, whatever you feel comfortable with. And I'll adjust my monthly payments to account for that, however much you want down. You would get that much at closing. That should cover your moving costs. That should even help with your down payment on your next house. And then I'll start making you monthly payments for the remaining balance. And the whole time, I'll also be paying the mortgage that you already have on the property.
And then for how long we're gonna do this?
That's up to you. The shortest I can do is 5 years. But if you really want to make as much money as possible from this property, I can go up to 30 years. In which case, after it's all said and done, you'll probably have made around $150,000 for your $80,000 in equity.
Okay, so what you're telling me is that you'll give me between $60,000 and $20,000 as down payment, right? 16 to 20, right? 20% of 80 or 100, depending on the number. And then every month for the next 5 to 30 years, you'll give me a monthly sum until we hit the $80,000 mark. Is that what you're saying, or the 100, whatever we agree on?
So, depending on how long you want to go, we could either stop at 80 or we could keep going and you'll earn even more. That's really up to you. If you want to be out of this whole situation, then we could do it as short as 5 years. But if you really want to make that money work for you, you're going to invest it anyways. You could put that in, be the bank on this situation, and I'll be the one who has a mortgage with you, and you'll make. I'll do 5.5% interest rate to beat your high yield savings.
Okay, last question was I gotta go sell some diapers. So what you telling me, you do a 5.5%, you beat my interest rate, and then I don't want to do 30, I'll do 5 years. So
Okay.
what's gonna happen after the 5 years? You're just gonna run?
No, no. What happens after 5 years is I'll pay off the remaining balance that I have with you. So I'd have to get out my calculator to know for sure. But after 5 years, uh, including the down payment that I give you now, you would ultimately probably make about $60,000, if I had to guess about what that would be, all at once after 5 years.
Okay, so I get the remaining after 5 years and the rest monthly. Okay.
That's right.
Well,
And yeah, go ahead.
no, go ahead.
So that $60,000 or whatever it's going to be, I'd have to get out my calculator, know for sure. The monthly payments that I'm making you are going to be mostly interest while I'm making those payments to you. And so almost all of that money that you're earning for that first 5 years isn't even paying down the principal balance. The principal balance will probably go down maybe $2,000 or $3,000 over that first 5 year period. So all of my monthly
Okay.
payments are effectively extra income for you that you wouldn't otherwise have made.
Okay. Well, I gotta see the numbers. Anyway, here's my contact information. I'm gonna hook you up with some diapers if you ever need some, and then I'll
Okay.
talk to you soon.
All right. Thanks. I appreciate it, Thomas. Bye.
This.
Okay, then. Thanks for volunteering, Thomas. Did you guys have any kind of feedback on that?
I had some on your end, Noah. Like
Yeah, go ahead.
when you were first getting in the conversation with him, like I know you got his why he was leaving, but I'm just like trying to look at it from both angles. You never asked him, like, have you had any offers on the house? What do you plan to do if the house doesn't sell? Um, a little bit, you got a little techie as you were trying to explain to him what sub two is. And this is going to be the interest. This is sub two. I'm going to do this. I'm going to figure out your equity. It's going to be off this. You're going to get a percentage of this. I think the typical buyer, you would have lost there as far as like even understanding what you're saying. So I started, I mean, I've watched a bunch of the PACE videos also, and Jerry Norton and his Flipping Mastery. I just started watching those today. Didn't even realize that was out there. That's a phenomenal 28 videos. And, they were saying they never use the words like sub two. They never use the word. They talk about buying it for cash. They keep it in simple terms for everyone. So I think it just got a little technical. But other than that, I mean, you said you don't do this all the time, but those are things that I saw on that end, and even understanding his why and what's he going to do, and trying to solve a problem for him in this, and even with like the realtors, like he said right up front, I don't trust realtors, and that was an opportunity to get right on his side. As far as I mean, it's hard to trust them because they're really out to just get commissions, for what? I mean, it's your money, it's your hard-earned money that you earned, and they're trying to get money out of your house. I mean, it's smart of you not to do that and really try to mirror his side to be able to get on his side there. So he's like, yeah, this guy gets me, So I don't know, just little things like that that could have polished it up a little bit, I think, just to get him more on his level instead of just the numbers tech. And I know you're a numbers guy, so but he's not. So maybe just get more chameleon like to mirror him. Like I had read who's that FBI agent that wrote that book about analyzing people and understanding people and really just mirroring them a lot. And whatever they're saying, you're agreeing with what they're saying. Whatever never lead them with a question that they're going to answer with a yes and a no. Just things like that. So, but it was pretty good though. I thought Thomas did an awesome job on that. You did a very good job too, Noah.
Yeah, thanks, Sean. Yeah, I absolutely am not like a salesperson. You know, we probably would have gotten a lot more deals if I were, but yeah, I appreciate that. Thank you. Okay.
I have a feedback.
What was that?
I have a feedback, and this is something that you taught me actually.
Go
That
for it.
that similar to Sean's feedback is that we went right through to it, and then we didn't do more digging, and then we started talking about trying to do self financing without identifying if I had a mortgage or not. And yeah, that's my that could cause confusion because you're telling one thing and then you pivot to another thing.
Yeah.
So that's my only thought.
So I kind of internally, I like to start under the premise that it's seller financing, and then find out that there's a mortgage, because what I'm going to be doing with their equity is seller finance anyways, more often than not. So starting out with seller finance, and then once you find out that there's a mortgage involved, going to sub two, that's just the way I prefer to do it, because it keeps the story simpler. Because if you start with the assumption that it's a sub two deal, you have to explain both seller finance and sub two at the same time.
Would you, I guess in my line of questioning, like, would you even bring up seller financing when you're having the conversation and learning more? When you learn that it is the person has a mortgage, would you even bring it up, or would you just go straight to sub to conversation?
It depends on how much equity they have. I would say if they have like more than $15,000 or $20,000 in equity, the only way I'm going to take that deal down is to have a note for their remaining equity, which is a sense of seller finance, but it's not strictly seller finance.
Okay, thank you.
Take another simple way of talking about like when he's like, you're probably going to lose somewhere in between, let me get my calculator, 9 and 11% in this deal because you're going to lose 6% here, you're going to lose 2% here. I think it's easier to just say, you're going to be paying, you're going to lose about 10% of the deal. And the only people that are going to make money in that 10% are the realtors, the banks, the lenders. So why shouldn't you make that money, Thomas, instead of them?
Yeah, that would have been a lot more elegant to put it in those terms rather than having them try to convert percentages in their heads. All right, any other feedback?
No, I think you did great. And I think I had a unfair advantage because just giving Ariel a shout out to the GPT that she made. I was actually grilling the GPT this morning and then asking the same type of questions, stuff like that. So I actually did. I was the seller to the GPT, and the GPT was the buyer. The buyer was trying to convince me why I wanted to do seller finance, the GPT, and that's how it kind of like came up with the scenario because I had practiced this morning.
Okay, cool. Nice.
Yeah, and if I could just quickly add one thing, I thought it was really good that Noah asked like a number of questions up front. Obviously, I know, you can't ask too many questions because, Thomas does have to sell his nappies or diapers. But, it is a good thing to, generally speaking, ask questions up front and not just sort of jump in and be like, do you want to do seller financing? That could be a bit too forward, a bit too confusing and so on, especially when it's something that isn't, as immediately understood. So I thought that was good.
Yeah, thanks, Liam. Yeah, and that also serves as a rapport building moment, which is necessary in any kind of conversation where you're asking somebody for something. Any other feedback? Okay. Well, what we can do now is if somebody's feeling brave, if we can get 2 more volunteers to try to have this conversation with each other. So
I'll do it.
you'll do it. Okay. Which role do you want to play, Brent?
I could be the buyer.
Okay. Excellent. Anyone want to volunteer to play the seller?
It's funny when you said that. I need 2 more. I was like, oh, hell's no. So not me.
Well,
So-
no one volunteers. I'll volunteer myself. I'll give the room a chance.
Okay. Anyone else?
You've got a
Going
few
once?
people in here, and everybody's heard me and Noah talk plenty today so far. So you should get somebody fresh in there.
Yeah, that would be great. Liam, you
Anyone-
want to do it?
Yvonne? Well, I'm happy to, but I thought I'd give someone else a chance first. Martin, Yvonne, Edward, one of you. The seller's the easy bit.
It is.
Oh,
Honestly,
I would,
it's
man. I'm
hard.
like completely under the weather. I'm sorry.
Oh, no worries.
I'm barely hanging on here.
Appreciate you still making it, man. Feel better, bro.
Yeah, for sure. All right. Well, let's have Liam do it if you're feeling brave. Liam?
Sure. It's the easier part.
Okay. Do you want to take a couple of moments to come up with a situation?
Sure, I'll just pick one off of coffee closers. Or we can just use the one that Thomas has
Yeah, I was
suggested.
gonna say Thomas, just drop one in. Yeah.
Yeah, I actually like this one. It's a different kind of situation.
Where do these come from, Thomas? So neatly formatted.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
From Ariel's awesome GPT.
There we go.
Nice.
All right, perfect. Brent, the floor is yours.
All right. Ring, ring, ring.
Hello, mate.
Hey, how's it going? Is this Liam?
Yes, it is. How are you?
I'm doing good. I'm doing good. How you doing today?
Yeah, not too bad. Not too bad. Just trying to sell a house, you know?
I hear you. That's perfect. That's exactly why I'm calling. I was going to ask you about the home over there in downtown Atlanta. If you got a couple minutes.
Sure, that's what I'm here for. Talk to me.
Sure. Yeah. So I was seeing that let's see. Wait, is this even listed or not? I didn't even read that. I'm so sorry. Tired landlord. Okay. So yeah, I was looking into the property and I was thinking about making an offer on it. I just wanted to get a little bit more information on it. I wasn't able to really see too much online. Is that so? You said you've been looking to sell it. Did you already list it with the realtor yet?
No, look, I've been a landlord for a number of years. I know what realtors are like. I don't like them. I don't trust them. So this is a straight FSBO.
Okay, gotcha. And honestly, man, I totally hear you. Realtors do take a large chunk of the money out of the deal, and if you already know what you're doing, it's like, what do you really need them for, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Absolutely. Cool. And so right now is the this is a rental unit, correct? So,
Yes, that's
all right.
right.
And are you staying there or is it just strictly a rental?
No, I'm not staying there. I've got a number of properties, sort of up and down the East Coast. So this is just one of many for me.
Okay. And so yeah, how have the offers been coming in on this? I'm sure you've been getting a lot.
Yeah, obviously interest rates are high right now, so not everyone can afford, exactly what I'm offering, but I do think it is a fair price. And as I say, I do have other assets, so I can sit on this for a bit.
I hear you. So you're not like in a huge rush to sell. You kind of just want to see if anyone's gonna bite at it.
Yeah, I'm not necessarily in a rush, no.
Okay. And the tenants there, how long have the tenants been in there?
One for 12 months, another one for I think 3.5 years now. They're both pretty good tenants. No real trouble.
Okay, that's good. That's good. And the condition of the property, any major updates you did recently or anything I should know about?
I'd say it's in pretty good condition. I mean, could do with maybe a little bit of a remodel, should we say, on the inside. A lot of the furniture's maybe sort of 20 years old, 25 years old.
Okay.
Um, shall we say? But it's horrible.
You said it's horrible.
Oh, so I said it's not horrible.
Oh, okay. Yeah, my bad. You were breaking up for a second. My
Sorry,
internet was
sorry.
getting a little shaky. Okay. Well, yeah, nah, just to get to the chase here a little bit, was looking to, send you an offer here for the property. And I see that what was the asking price? Actually, yeah, what was the asking price you were looking for?
Around 450, I feel is fair.
Okay, 450 for sure. Yeah, and honestly, I don't like to beat up people on price. That's not really what I'm here to do. I was gonna offer, seller financing. Is that something you've thought of for the property?
Oh, I've heard of that. What is that again?
Yeah, so essentially, what we do is it would be closed as a normal transaction. I would, offer you a down payment, something that you'd be comfortable with, and we'd make payments over time on a set price point that you'd like. So let's say, for example, for 450, I'd give you a down payment out of that, and yeah, monthly payments over time, and at an interest rate that you'd find suitable for you. Is that something that you'd be like opposed to?
I mean, theoretically, I could consider it. I mean, I don't necessarily need the cash now. I do have other properties, which can sort of fund my lifestyle and stuff. I do have a mortgage though on this property. So I don't own it free and clear.
Okay. Yeah, not a problem. That's something we'd still be able to work with. I was gonna ask, so how it would work is what we do is, so like for example, how much do you owe on the property?
I owe 320,000, and I've got an interest rate of 3.75%.
And you said the interest rate was 3.75?
Yeah, that's correct. Yeah.
Okay. So, let's see here. So yeah, out of the 320 that you owe, and how much do you have in equity right now?
Well, if we're saying it's the property's worth 450, which I think is a more than fair price, then I have 130,000 in equity over 450, which is about 28%, 29% equity.
Okay. So yeah, just like 30,000 foot view, what we do is create a note for that equity that you have, and I wouldn't be, paying it all to you at once. I'd be giving you payments over time for that equity, as well as a down payment out of that equity or proportional to that, I should say. And then, yeah, payments over time, and yeah, we close on the exact same price point that you want. I'm not trying to, you know, get you to lower it or, try to offer you half, which you've probably gotten from a couple other people. Yeah, it would just be a straightforward transaction just between me and you. We don't have to get any realtors involved because you know how they take, 3 to 6%. So, yeah, I just wanted to see if that would be something you'd be open to.
I mean, in theory, I am, but like, no offense, I don't really know. Like, it feels like we're entering into like a business partnership here if we do this. And I don't really know you. I mean, I'm sure you're a great guy, but like, I mean, what happens if you don't pay me? So on and so forth. It's going to be a bit of hassle, me having to sort of chase you up. Like, the reason why I'm getting out of this game is because I'm tired of chasing up tenants all the time for rent and all the other crap they make me go through. So, no offense, but if I'm having to chase you up every so often for the payments, that's going to be really annoying. And it may just be worth it for me to get something in cash, as I say. So it's going to really depend on the interest rate and also like, how trustworthy are you? Have you done this before? What happens if you don't pay? All that kind of stuff.
No, I definitely hear you. I mean, you're clearly a smart investor. You've been around the block a couple times. You know not to just let anybody have the property or, just let anybody come and, be a part of the deal. So I definitely appreciate that. But while I am a new investor here, I'll be very, very honest with you. There is something that we do. We call a performance deed. I'm not sure if you're familiar, but essentially the worst case scenario that could happen, and we'll put this all in the paperwork, is the worst case scenario would be just that you get the house back. So essentially, the 31st day after a missed payment, we have it in the contract that you would receive the house back without need of foreclosure. So that's basically just, um, it's basically just something that we put in there for your sake, just so you don't have to worry about, what if you have to chase this guy around? What if I get abducted by aliens, and then I'm not there to make the payment? What we do is we have that performance deed that says you don't have to go through a foreclosure. You don't have to go through the court system or anything like that. All you do is you get the house back immediately, and you get to keep the down payment. You get to keep any payments I made along the way. Honestly, it'd be the best case scenario if I were to default on it, which we haven't done it. We have 2 properties right now. We've never defaulted, but if in the event that we would, you'd get to keep all the money and turn around and sell the house back, put it back on the market. So I don't know if that's something you'd be opposed to as well. I noticed you said you don't want to chase people around. No offense, but right now you're technically at the bottom of the totem pole. As a landlord, fixing, leaky toilets, broken sinks, so on and so forth. I'm trying to upgrade you to the lender at the top of the totem pole. You see, the eagle is always at the top of banks and everything. It's because they're at the top of the totem pole. You're not dealing with these tenants anymore. You're not dealing with toilets. You're not dealing with calls at 4 a.m. I would be the full owner of the property. All of the responsibilities would be on me. All you do is receive a check every month, and the number is something you would decide. Does that sound good to you?
Well, flattery will get you everywhere, Brent. But no, that does actually sound quite interesting, to be fair. And it's not something that I'm super familiar with, but I mean, if it's actually going to be in the paperwork the way that you've just described to me, like if what you're saying is accurate, then to be honest with you, this does seem quite interesting. Especially because if you miss a payment, I just get the property back and I keep all of the money that you've put in. And if you're putting in a down payment, then you are incentivized to carry on, because otherwise you're left with literally nothing. So as long as that's in the paperwork, then I am definitely willing to consider this. I do just have a concern. So if you're taking over my monthly payments, how's that going to work for me in terms of like getting any other loans? I mean, look, I am a retiring landlord, so I don't necessarily foresee myself getting another loan next week. So it's not a massive issue, but like, is that going to be an issue for me just in case I do want to buy another property, get another loan, something like that?
That's actually a really good question. Some of the people that we have sent offers over to have had that same question, so it's a very valid question. You're just to make sure I have the clarity on this. You're basically talking about the debt to income ratio. Is that correct?
Yeah, pretty much, yeah.
Yeah, because I know some like lenders or loan officers, they'll look at your debt to income ratio and see that you still have this debt on your under your name. You still have the mortgage under your name, and they'll say you can't buy this next house until you sell the first one. We have actually been able to get that removed from your debt to income ratio through showing that it's being serviced. And basically just fancy words of saying that you're not paying for that mortgage anymore, so it should not be on your debt to income ratio. And that's something we're able to get lenders and loan officers to basically underwrite, and then they'll be able to remove it from your debt to income ratio, and you'll be able to purchase the next property. So if that is something you are worried about, like genuinely worried about, or if it's something that you are looking to do, I can absolutely help you with that and guide you through that process, because it's something that's been done for, dozens of years now. So
Okay. No, that's great. Let me ask you a question there, Brent. Would you rather pay me a low down payment and a higher interest rate, or a higher down payment and a lower interest rate?
that's a good question, but I just gotta be honest. I gotta be honest, Liam. You don't want to start with what I want. It's essentially turning you into the bank, right? It's like how many times
Isn't
have
that
you gone
generous
into the
of
bank?
you? Make me say the first thing.
But yeah, it's like, you don't go into the bank and say, here's what I want. do these terms work for you? You know, the bank tells you what terms they want. So I think what you should do, Liam, is, take some time tonight and sit down and think about what you want for an interest rate, what you want for a down payment that would make you comfortable, and then come back to me and we'll start talking from there, if that sounds good to you.
All right. I've been enlightened by this conversation. This has been very interesting. A lot better than all the wholesalers calling me up, asking me half of what my property is worth
Right.
in cash. So I must say I'm very interested. So I'll tell you what, I'll have a think tonight and I'll give you a couple of options, bank style,
Yeah.
and maybe we can take it from there.
Sounds good. Sounds good. Just don't make me wait in the really cold waiting room like they always do. So,
No, absolutely
no
not.
deal.
Absolutely not. You'll be hearing from me very soon.
Sounds good. All right, Liam, you have a good one.
And you. All the best. Bye-bye.
Bye.
That was masterfully done, Brent. Very well done.
Thank you.
Very, very smooth.
Totally agree. It's clear that you've studied these kinds of calls, Brent. I don't know if anyone else picked up on that, but I mean, you sounded like you were using the exact same rebuttals as Pace Morby does.
Yeah, I studied a lot of his stuff. I was a student for a little while.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah, you were very likable, which is important and good, and very professional. That was really fantastic.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm excited to get on these calls, to be honest with y'all.
Yeah, you're gonna shine. You're gonna do fantastically well.
Excellent.
Yeah,
Any
you
other
killed
feedback?
it.
Oh, go ahead, Ken.
I was just saying you killed it. Very, very well done. I'm like, I'm gonna start paying you to fly to wherever I am at and represent me.
Hey, don't threaten me. Don't threaten me with a good time, man. I will fly anywhere. I love traveling.
Yeah, I was very impressed. You did very well.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
I'm gonna watch this recording a couple times.
That is honestly, that's super flattering because I've like seriously like drill these recordings myself, like the ones on YouTube of Pace and stuff.
Yeah,
now
it
I know
shows.
what to look to. Thank you for that. Noah, for putting that list on there. If it helped Brent get to this level, then I think I'll be watching those as well.
Yeah, no, I can't. Like I know he said it, I can't recommend them anymore if this doesn't show it. Like took
Yeah.
me from like super super timid and scared to talk to people to that. So.
And do you really have 2 properties under management now?
No, I was working with someone else in Sub2 who did. And that gave me a little bit more confidence, sit up straight, But I'm not working with him anymore. But that's just been in the back of my head when I was calling at the time. So I kind of just snapped back to last year and all the stuff that was rattling around in my head.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, and with that microphone, you're like a creative finance YouTuber in the making.
For real. I'm trying.
Yeah, for what it's worth, those videos, they absolutely follow like the 80-20 rule, right? Like you don't need to watch all 30. Just 3 or 4 will expose you to like the only thing watching all of them will show you is that it's very rare that you'll have somebody with an objection other than what's covered in the first few. So a little bit of a confidence boost, but yeah, you can expose yourself to most of the objections people have for seller finance and Sub2 by watching like 4 or 5 of those videos. They're short too. They're like, between 10 and 20 minutes usually.